Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? Come on in and sit on down because today we're talking about reality television. Most importantly, we're talking about Mormon reality television.
I thought it would be cute if you guys each drew what your perfect vagina looks like to give me info.
Oh, reality TV, especially Hulu. Hulu, for some reason, is just dropping back-to-back bangers. At the Gypsy Rose show, right? That's the only one I can really think of. There's gotta be more.
Was the medieval one, was that Hulu?
No, the Ren Fair was HBO. All we know is Hulu just dropped another absolute banger. Ever since the Gypsy Rose video, I have been consuming, ladies and gentlemen, not just food, not just alcohol and soda pops and candies and sweet treats, reality television. I think I've said before that I'm a big fan of Gold Rush, American Choppers, and Deadliest Catch, but also something came across my lap, a little manila envelope slid in front of me of a little secret new show that's blowing up, very popular right now, called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And today, we're gonna talk about this show, because let me tell you, I watched the entire season in 2 days with my friend, Trevor. Why did we do this? This is what it's like hanging out with me, dude. Well, this is... it's not the funnest thing, but we did watch like 8.5 hours of Mormon reality television. And I've been seeing some of these things pop up on TikTok and stuff because this show is starring a bunch of people from Mom Talk, which is a Mormon subsect of mothers who twerk and dance for power. It's good liberation, I guess. I don't know. But it all started in Salt Lake City, Utah, the Mecca, the capital of Mormonism in the world. And this is where these fine LDS Latter-day Saints queens twerk and drink soda pop. There's a lot of soda pop drinking in this.
Is there?
Yeah, because Mormons don't drink pop or caffeine. They can't drink alcohol. They don't swear, and they can't before marriage, which they all break those rules. They all break those rules. A lot of times in the show that we'll get into, they'll have like mocktail people come over and they'll just drink Coke and Pepsi. I think they just have a sugar crash and then they're just like, I gotta get out of here. And then they leave after they all suck each other's and eat each other's and cokes and stuff like that. And they twerk and listen to Bruno Mars or whatever. But Mom Talk is a group of 8 Mormon women who started the group. Really, it's just them using the hashtag Mom Talk on their videos of them twerking and dancing and, you know, doing like fake laughing. Mom Talk and fake laughing. Oh my God. Especially like photographs of girls being like, or they're dancing and they're like it's the funniest thing when you've done this 8 million times, dude. What's funny is you get to see behind the veil, dude, because it's just the most petty bullshit of all time. They say it's to promote positivity and highlight the femininity of women in the Mormon faith to show that they aren't just stuffy, cultish religion and to showcase their personalities, which is AKA rich, generic, famous white women that just do this. They're just clones, but they're individuals. One of them gets surgery on their pussy, and they show that. And she describes it as 2 hot dog buns. There you go. Coming up momentarily.
My meat curtains, they just hang low.
Today's video is sponsored by Fume, the leaders in flavored air. Now I've got my fair share of bad habits, and that's why I have Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that helps you fill the void when you're ditching a bad habit. The best part is, Fume is not a vape. There's no vapor, so you can use it anywhere. Plus, there's no nicotine, no toxic flavors, and no batteries involved. And Fume is meant to fidget with satisfying snaps and clicks to help calm you down when you're feeling anxious. I found that Fume is super easy to use, and some of their best flavors are orange vanilla and crisp mint. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code PAPAMEAT to get your free topper. It's the perfect accessory for your Fume device. Slip it onto the mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com and use code PAPAMEAT or scan the QR code on screen to get your free Fume topper when you order your journey pack today. Thank you, Fume, for sponsoring the video, and back to the video.
But the 8 members of Mom Talk, the 8 circles of hell, are Taylor, Frankie, Paul, Jennifer Affleck, yes, she's related to Ben Affleck, Demi Ingman, Macy Neely, Jesse Nikitakura, I definitely said that wrong. Also, I think I said a bad word at the beginning of that. Michaela Matthews, Whitney Levitt, and Layla Taylor. She's the youngest of the group. Almost threw up my mouth. This group is riddled with controversies. Not really, just a couple. But some of the funnier ones is when Whitney Levitt filmed a TikTok dance in December of 2021 while in the hospital room next to her baby that was receiving care for RSV, respiratory virus that can lead to serious complications and even death if untreated. It's unbelievable because I remember even when Nick was in the room, he was like, is that the girl who danced next to her like dying child? And she was like, and we were like, I don't think so. And then in the show, they showed it. She's like, yeah, people keep leaving me hate comments. It's like, no shit. I gotta watch this video again. It's so funny. I like how she kisses at the beginning too. I love kissing at the beginning and doing, and the baby's just like, she's like, Lil Lee was taken off of oxygen. Oh, brave, Whitney. Whitney, you're such a baddie. The next major controversy in the group is what led to the creation of the show that we're getting ready to talk about, and what led to us wanting to cover this cringy phenomenon and why I watched 8.5 hours of this. It's just the cringe. The de facto leader of the group, Taylor Frankie Paul, posted a somewhat cryptic video in May of 2022 of herself saying she was separating from her husband, Tate, and it left fans of the group to wonder what happened to cause the split. After she posted that video, Taylor posted a second video of herself in an empty house talking about living alone for the first time, getting divorced, and raising 2 kids by herself, which added to the gossip within the fan community. Oh my god. People are spilling the tea. This was the first time, too, I got to really indulge in the spilling of the tea. Petty, interpersonal that should stay behind doors. But instead, it's thrown into the internet for everybody to act like they're a part of it, even though it's like gossipy bullshit that I despise. If something's going on in your personal life that's like between 2 people, I think just leave it there. Do I need to know? Because usually when it always comes out, it feels like it's just profiting one person. It's always good to know some dirt on somebody or to fucking like kick up some shit, but at the same time, it's just pathetic. There's an extremely active community on Reddit all about mom talk gossip. Fans in the Reddit community spent their endless unemployed hours investigating and noticed that other members of the group were unfollowing Taylor, and many of them were liking comments on TikToks and Instagram that were saying Taylor cheated on Tate, and that's why they were splitting up. The plot thickens, the tea begins to spill. Finally, on May 25th, 2022, Taylor went live on TikTok to broadcast to her 3 million followers that she was in fact going through a divorce with her husband Tate. Oh my god! Taylor, tell us why! The reason they were separating was due to what they called soft swinging. And see, this is where I became very, very intrigued.
Back to being in an open relationship, Tate and I kind of opened those doors, and he never like fully went, I don't know what you would call it if it's like soft swinging, but you don't like fully switch, if that makes sense.
You're probably wondering what soft swinging is. Well, it's when people do everything but so this group of Mormon people were fucking on clits like Jolly Ranchers and deep those footlongs all day at these fucking parties where people are eating candy and drinking Sprite. Hello? I mean, I feel like I'm in hell. This is crazy. Can you imagine someone's like, is it too late yet to say sorry? And they're like filming TikToks and the guys in the background like, and they're like, ah! Like knocking over Bibles and shit. The group would have parties together, and at these parties, certain members of the group, not all of them, would go off into other rooms and swap partners with each other. Little swinger action, dude. To each their own.
What does God have to say about that?
He'd probably say, well, at least you're doing it with a fucking holy person. That's probably how they justified it, right? But they would not go all the way with the other members unless their own spouse was in the room with them. That is also a revelation that I forgot, that they would only fucking fuck each other unless their partner was in the room, and then they would have sex with them, which is just, it's just cucking. I always wonder, what do you get out of cucking? Look at her go. Man, you're folding her like a chair, scraping her up like a grill. Spank your ass. There you go. Sweetheart, you want to pick? Nope. Okay.
I think there's 2 philosophies. I think there's one of the humiliation of like, my wife's being f***ed. And like, that's hot.
We cover a lot of humiliation kinks, I feel like. I think the it's hot is in the same category as being like, I can't believe my wife's fucking another guy. God, it's hot.
The other reason I think is like a safety thing where it's like, well, if she's gonna fuck other guys, I want to know.
That's humiliation too. If it's, I'm gonna fuck other guys just so I know that she's doing it, that's him just being like, well, she's gonna do it anyways. You know what I mean? It's just acceptance at that point. Those are both humiliation kinks. They gotta be.
Maybe they're not very good at laying down the pipe, so they want to see someone who's actually good and be like, God damn, that's me. Yeah.
Taylor stated she broke the rules of the arrangement by actually going off and having sex with another member's husband without her husband in the room, and part of the reason it was so bad was because her and the other husband actually developed feelings for each other. So Taylor, that witch, that scarlet letter of a woman, went off and had sex with the guy without her husband in the room to facilitate the arrangement and not be able to probably jack off his pud into like a bucket. Which it's like, Taylor, stop rocking the boat. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Taylor was very careful not to name anyone in the group specifically that was engaging in the soft swinging, but it led fans to speculate and come up with their own ideas of who was cheating with who. Because of all this drama, Hulu decided to pick up the show to follow the drama of the friend group. This is where entertainment's at. Okay, when I was excited about watching the show, I was like, we're gonna be watching Mormons fucking and swinging. We're not gonna see anything, obviously, because it's on Hulu, but it would be funny to be like, oh, we're gonna go drink soda pop at this guy's house and we're all gonna be like sucking clicks like Jolly Ranchers and all the other things I said before, right? Would that not be a kind of an interesting show? And then for them to kind of skirt around like, but I mean, you know, we got church tomorrow, so we can't be up too late. Like, that would be fun. I would watch that show. So far, the show has been highly criticized by members of the LDS community due to the group often acting in ways that go against the religion's teachings, like showing them occasionally drinking alcohol, dressing provocatively, and dancing in a sexual way. You're gonna find out very quickly that the entire thing is very convoluted. Rules mean nothing. They mean some to some people and nothing to other people, and they're like, it's a bad show. Did I watch all of it? Yes. Would I recommend it? No. Because here's one. No swinging in the entire show. How do you get out of, if you're in swinging, how the fuck do you just like, I'm not in anymore? Yeah, right, dude. Show the swinging that they're still doing. It's bullshit. To really get into the grasp before we start going into these episodes, because I'm going to tell you, I'm going into all of them. It's going to be a painful watch today. I need to introduce you all to the main cast of characters. Starting off with the head dog, Taylor Frankie Paul. She is the leader of Mom Talk. She essentially started the group by getting the other Mormon mommies that were using the hashtag together to make a friend group that filmed content together. Basically, it was a bunch of Mormons in Salt Lake City, Utah, who were twerking to Bruno Mars and Charlie Puth, or the fuck his name is, and they were just like, seriously, you guys dressing provocatively don't know about God. And then they would like slap their, like you would see their ass, like, or their ass would put just like this, and they're like, yeah, Bruno Mars, twerking in front of the camera, and their kids like dying in the background. And they're like taking shots of like RC Cola, doing galaxy gas. Joseph Smith didn't say anything about this. Taylor's most known for being the one who caused the most controversy by revealing in a TikTok live that she and her husband were splitting up due to the group porking each other at parties and causing a huge rift within the group. She's the main focus of the show and is currently pregnant with her boyfriend's baby. We're gonna get into that, all right? Her boyfriend's addicted to fentanyl. They don't really go into that either. That pissed me off too. We'll get into that. Next up, we have Whitney Livet, aka fucking Count Dooku, dude. She wants to be Palpatine, but she's Dooku. I would say Taylor's Palpatine, and then Whitney is Count Dooku. She's sitting there with her arms cut off like, ah! She is the main antagonist of the show, if you can even call her that. She's just another Mormon mom who's just like, who else fucking hates Taylor? Who else thinks Taylor should get hit by a Hummer EV? Whitney is a catty bitch who causes nothing but problems by poking and prodding at other members of the group and then acts surprised when people get mad at her. I think everybody has that friend. I'm Whitney. In our friend group. She does things like tell other girls secrets to different members of the group and make jokes at their expense that cause arguments, and then cries and gets pissy when they all call her out. Also, and this is just me speculation, this is a complete fabrication. It's a lie what I'm about to say. Don't take this as a joke. Her husband, Connor, is definitely gay. He's a gay man. He has to be gay. This is me joking. This is a lie. I'm fabricating. He's a gay man. Next up, we have Jessie Nagatikura. Hopefully I said that right. I don't know. I've never heard anyone on the show say her name once. Forgive me. She's the oldest member of the group at 31 years old. Oh my God, used goods. Yee. She's the wild Mormon, and they refer to her as having the loosest Mormon morals and occasionally drinks alcohol, aka she's the fucking heretic. They basically referred to her as a demon. Also, 31, not that old. She looks like she's 58. All right, I legitimately thought she was one of the moms. I understand what I look like, but guess what? I'm being a catty bitch because we're watching reality television. That's only fair. She owns a hair salon that the girls go to so they can get their beautiful platinum blonde hair touched up and talk shit about the other girls. AKA, she makes tons of bank, and all of her cheap-ass Mormon friends go there, and they're like, do my hair today, bitch. And they get the exact same haircut, and they all just like walk out looking the exact same. Same. Next up, we have Michaela Matthews, one of the younger members of the group. She's mostly quiet and kind of off to the side the whole show, and only makes a comment every now and again without adding really any substance. She's a forgettable character. Forgettable meme. Sorry, Michaela. Her main issue is that she has some unknown chronic skin issue that doctors apparently can't understand or figure out, and she goes through a bunch of testing constantly, but they have no answers for it. She's a goddamn anomaly. I don't know what the hell to say it. She's just barely soft-spoken, and then all of a sudden she's covered in bruises. She is married to Jace Terry, which we never hear from him, so who gives a music. And they had their first child when Michaela was 17. Jace does not appear on the show because I'm pretty sure he was in his mid to late 20s when he impregnated her when she was 16. Next up, we have Jennifer Affleck, another younger member of the group. She also has no conflict within the group, and all of her conflict comes from her psychotic albino husband who emotionally abuses and controls her in every moment. His name's Zach. He is apparently a second cousin to Ben Affleck, and they bring up that they're related every chance they get. I think the first thing Jennifer says in the show is that she was the first J-Lo to Ben Affleck, and you're like, oh my God. There's a speculation that he may not be related to Ben Affleck at all, and he's just lying about it because they have the same last name. I don't know. All right. She gets clowned on by the other girls for being the most Mormon of the group and is a lot more reserved than the others, probably because her husband is a psychopath. We'll get into that later too. Literally, he's just like, I'm going to medical school. And she calls her and she's just like, why are you yelling at me? He's like, you dumb. What are you doing? We're getting divorced. I'm cleaning out the closet. She's like, oh my God, Zach's being weird. And then the next scene, the other girl's like, hey, so when your husband emotionally manipulated you, what happened with that? She's like, no, it's fine. It was like so blown out of proportion, like, and I deserved it. So it's like, whatever. And you're like, well, that's a fun life. I love being an Affleck. Next up, we have Macy Neely, who is Whitney's only friend on the show. After the split between the group, she also exists just to make catty comments occasionally without adding really anything to the show besides just being a fence rider. Her main conflict in the show comes from her becoming the CEO of her fertility company called Baby Mama. After Whitney has her little freak out and doesn't show up to the grand opening release party, their relationship becomes rocky. She's married to Jacob Neely. Once again, we rarely see him. Who gives a shit? Keep up with me. Keep up with me. Next, we have Layla Leanne Taylor, who's the youngest of the group. She also adds basically nothing outside of being the designated cultural hire, as she's the only one that isn't white. She's not currently dating anyone and was recently divorced, so her only real exposure to the show comes when the girls take her to Vegas for her birthday, which makes no sense because they don't drink or gamble, so they just go to Vegas just to be like, we're crazy! And then they sit in an Airbnb the entire time. So, awesome!
Do you think that was like a Hulu thing? You guys have to go to Vegas.
Oh, probably. We'll get more to it when the episode comes up. I bet you anything, they're just like, you need to do something that isn't just eating candy and drinking soda pop. And they're like, yeah, we're getting our hair done. They're like, no, go to Vegas. Go to Vegas and fucking smoke a cigarette. And they're like, oh my God, what? No! And then lastly, we have Demi Ingman, becomes the main enemy of Whitney and leads all the girls to go against Whitney, as she is the most outspoken of the group and leads to a lot of the shit talking. I would say Demi's probably my favorite of the entire series. All right, I'll say it.
Okay.
May I say it?
You may.
Her husband, Brett Ingman, is 16 years older than her, and fans online have discovered that he was a family friend of hers when growing up, so people believe the age gap relationship is partial grooming. But the relationship seems to be very strong, and they don't argue like all the other couples. Demi said that she knew Brett at the age of 9 when Brett was still married to his first wife and having babies, which does sound awkward. But I will say, she seems the most normal, and he seems like the most normal guy. Do I know that for a fact? I have no idea, right? This is a petty, terrible show with snakes and tall grass. I have no idea. But all I can say is, out of all of them, I'm like, I would rather just be in that household. If I was to be a son to any of them, I'd be like, give me to that, those people. Let's get into some of the guys here, because the men in the secret lives of Mormon wives are very interesting because they're all terrible. They all seem to be terrible, terrible people. Anyways, let's talk about Dakota. Taylor's boyfriend, he is a former heroin and fentanyl addict that gets Taylor pregnant immediately after she gets divorced. I think she gets divorced, and a month later, she's like, I'm gonna need a pregnancy test. And I know that motherfucker's ramming fentanyl still. I was like, give me some fentanyl stuff in the show. Holding out the entire season, doesn't come. If you're looking for fentanyl content, this is not the place to come. Taylor later disclosed that Dakota was the other husband she fell in love with during the soft swinging scandal. So, she got down real good by the fentanyl and she fell in love. Can you blame her? The thing about Dakota is he is very emotional and manipulative towards her, but they always end up back together and work through their current fight before immediately starting a new one. He pretty much blows up at her. She's just like, what the f? And he comes in and he's like, babe, honestly, I was out of line. That'll never happen again. And then she's just like, I'm going to Chippendale's show in Vegas. And he's just like, what the f? You stupid bitch. And then a day later, baby, why do we keep doing this? It's every day. Next up, we have Connor. Gay guy. Whitney's husband, he seems to be totally checked out of the relationship and is almost definitely gay. All right. He seems completely gone. He seems soulless. He seems unhappy. This is the kind of guy where I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's just time to write him the divorce papers and say, let's just split. Shake hands and split, dude. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's worth fighting harder when you have a kid. All right. They have a lot of kids. They're Mormons. They got pups. All right. Connor is accused by some of the others of having been on Tinder, which causes some arguments between him and Whitney, but he takes full responsibility for his actions. He's just like, yes, I did do that. That's fucked up.
I had a real problem, and it led to something that really hurt my wife. I'm so sorry.
My whole speculation with it, I think it was Grindr. I unironically believe it was Grindr. And they're not giving us that bit. They're like, we'll fucking sue you. Telling people it's Tinder. But Whitney claims she wants to be out of the drama and not involved, but he will regularly update her on all the gossip he hears about the group. She like basically forces him to be like, tell me everything the other men are saying. She's like, what happened? He's like, oh, you want me to, okay, yeah, Taylor's like mad at Dakota. And she's like, obviously. He's like, yeah. And he like sees his gardener outside and he's just like, I thought at one point, I thought that she was going to walk in on him like fucking, she's like dancing with her sick baby, and then Connor's just like, I don't know, sucking, doing whatever he can, having a good time. Why not, dude? Connor, get out there. Get on Grindr. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but the most evil person I've ever seen on a reality television show is Zach Affleck, who's Jennifer's husband. His family is apparently extremely wealthy, as they are all doctors, and they gave him a ton of money for medical school, but he blew it all on his gambling addiction. Okay? He's extremely emotionally abusive and threatens to divorce her and says he doesn't love her anymore and calls her names because she went to Chippendale's show on Layla's birthday trip to Vegas, which let me tell you, the Chippendale show, she wasn't even in the same room as the show. She went up and said, hi, nice to meet you, and talked to them. And he was like, you're a bunch of whore. He was in Vegas with her because he didn't trust her to go. And then he's just like sitting at the table gambling. He's like texting her like, you're a dumb cunt. Like, I hope you die in hell, you rotten whore. And he's like, hit me? 22, my luck. Now that we're introduced to everything, I'm just going to do an episode by episode breakdown because I think it's funny. That's all I got to tell you. So let's get into episode 1. Episode 1 is quite the hook. First off, you realize very quickly that all of the episodes are labeled after books because it's religious, right?
Oh, because of the Book of Mormon.
The Book of Mormon. Or like, you know, the Book of John. You know, they say that about all kinds of shit. The first episode takes place after all the swinging drama has calmed down a bit, and Taylor meets with one of the girls at a restaurant. Taylor and Whitney haven't seen each other in a while since Whitney and Connor just moved back from Hawaii, so they also meet at a restaurant and talk about the reveal of the swinger parties, and Whitney says she can't trust Taylor anymore.
Genuinely was like, I don't feel safe with Taylor. I never want to make a video with Taylor ever again. Like, I still don't really trust you.
They don't ever say who was in the swinging thing, but right there it makes you think Whitney and Connor were definitely fucking. Also, here's another thing. Connor was...
I was gonna say Connor watching. That's why he was involved in the swinger thing, because he's getting off seeing other dudes.
Oh, I bet you think Connor was getting sucked by other dudes. You know, like people are just like, I don't know, let's have a couple shots and get crazy. He opens up like a Gatorade lemon lime, and he's just like, well, let's just get nuts. He's like pouring some like Tang powder into a glass, and he's just like, I don't know, let's just see if we can forget some shit tonight, huh? He slams it down. I'm gonna make you see God tonight. Connor might even get me excited about it. I'm like, I don't know, Connor, let's go to a closet. Taylor talks about how she started recently seeing Dakota, a former heroin and fentanyl addict, and tells her mom she might be pregnant with his baby.
I have to take a pregnancy test tonight. You're so stupid. You're always screwing up everything. It pisses me off.
In the first episode, there's a part where she's like, I'm gonna tell everybody that Connor was on Tinder. And to me, I was like, she's just saying that because everyone's just like, yeah, the dude's like definitely probably in love with another guy.
Makes me feel like my whole marriage was just like a lie.
She tells people, and people are like, oh my God, he was on Tinder talking to someone else. Oh my God. And then Taylor's like, hey, by the way, I just pissed on a stick and I'm pregnant. There's something brewing in me. Easy bake oven right here. Everyone's like, oh my God. And then Whitney gets mad that she's like, you stole my moment.
What the actual Taylor? Immediately, right after sharing this trauma that's happening to me. For you, immediately talk about something traumatic that's going on in your life.
Can you compare this to that?
Well, Taylor also said, she's like, I'm pregnant, but I think I lost it.
Oh yeah, she's like, I think I lost it because I just like queefed out a bunch of blood in the toilet. So it's probably dead. It's scrambled up and God took it. And Whitney's like sitting there like in like a fucking Snuggie or whatever, like, this is my moment where people are supposed to be paying attention to me and what I'm feeling. If anything, in that moment, wouldn't she just be like, well, I mean, I could be in that boat, right? Most of this episode is kind of explaining the backstory and who the cast is. But the climax of episode 1 shows police body cam footage of cops coming to Taylor and Dakota's house after she gets drunk and argues with Dakota, but then throws a children's playset and metal chairs at him and accidentally hits one of her kids.
Oh my God. Really?
Yes. Yeah. The episode ends with Taylor being arrested, which I was like, if this is going to be some weird, catty, like drunk Mormon shit, I was like, I'm in. Episode 2 takes place 11 months after the first episode. I thought that was fucking crazy. Episode 2 is the Book of Belonging. The episode takes place 11 months after the first episode and shows that Taylor is 9 months pregnant with Dakota's baby. And guess what? After that assault and stuff, the body cam footage was like fucked. I mean, it was like, I was like, this is disgusting. And he's like, I stuck with her because that's my baby. Like, that's my mom, my baby's mama. drama. All of these relationships, besides Demi and her fucking boyfriend who's like 75, or her husband who's 75 years older than her, those are the only people where I'm like, this is probably a good functioning relationship. Everything else just seems like we're just beaten down like dogs.
The crew stopped filming when Taylor was in jail because they knew nothing good was gonna happen.
Oh yeah, exactly. Of course they're gonna stop filming for 9 months because they're just like, okay, well the one person who was like kind of doing anything in the show is gone. All these other are just eating beef jerky and cosmic brownies and being like, I can't believe we're so bad. It's like, whatever, dude. You want to watch me get my hair done? And the crew's just like, pack it up. Well, let's just wait till she's done for prison. My God. But now Whitney is leading a campaign against Taylor and is somewhat declaring herself as the new leader of Mom Talk, which I thought was kind of cringy too. I'm like, it's a hashtag on TikTok. She's like, I'm the new leader. Cool. Whitney is discussing with some of the other girls how she wants to kick Taylor out of the group and not associate with her anymore because of her actions and how her scandals can ruin the overall image and vibe of the group. We get to see some nice petty shit of them being like, brands are gonna work with us if Taylor's doing this. And it's like, you are like advertising like pussy lotion. Whitney grapples with the really hard decision of promoting sex toys on her page, and some of the girls don't like the idea as it's a sin to crank hog. So she talks to her mom, who also agrees that promoting sex is wrong. So you can twerk your ass and show your asshole on camera twerking to Bruno Mars, but you can't just be like, hey, if you rub this on your pussy, you'll...
God does not want you to have, specifically women, to have orgasms.
That's why I want to be so how do I sign up for this religion? Dakota moves into Taylor's house at the end of the episode, which really pisses off her parents because they don't like him and are worried about her dating a former drug addict, which it's like, newsflash, dude. The fucking kid is already baking inside of her womb. I think we're long past that kind of stuff. Episode 3 is the Book of Saints and Sinners, which the group attends a party at one of the husband's parents' homes and are expected to be on their best behavior as the parents are much more traditional and conservative, but one of the guys brings out some vodka and a few of the group drinks it, causing judgment to be cast by some of the more conservative members of the group, aka it was Zach's parents' house, and they're like, hey, he might actually get shot here.
Jessie drinking is disrespectful, and it almost feels like she's spitting in my face.
It's one of those things where it's like avoiding like confrontation, so it's like you can tell people are upset, but no one's just like, hey, could you not just drink here at my dad's house? He's really conservative. Just say that. But instead, everyone's just like, Jennifer Affleck is having a baby blessing event and decides to uninvite the girls that have looser morals, leading the group to say that they are being split into saints and sinners, which causes more discord. AKA Zach was like, Jennifer, if they come here, I'm divorcing you. And she's like, okay. So then it gets split to people who are like, oh, we're more Mormon than you are. And it leads some of the more trashy Mormons to be like, I can be Mormon too, bitch. And that's pretty much what it is. Demi hosts a Galentine's Day party at her house where the ladies can just enjoy each other's company and have a good time bonding as women. Demi is in her bra when some of the girls arrive as she's still getting ready, and some of the girls' husbands see her in her bra, leading Taylor to claim that if she did that and Dakota found out, she would be, quote, ripped to shreds. At the Galentine's Day party, Whitney gives Demi a joke gift referencing a sexual act Demi had with her husband and told Whitney about it in secrecy. It's revealed that Whitney had actually told a bunch of the girls about it and it embarrassed Demi in front of all the girls. It's like a box of Fruit Loops or something. I think her husband said that her pussy tastes like a box of Fruit Loops or something. She got really upset. She's like, I told you that in secret.
This specific thing that she was trying to make light of and make a joke was something that was completely intimate and off the table that was between Brett and I. We swore to each other we would never tell a soul about that.
Which at the same time, I was like, Whitney, stirring the pot, dude. Dooku really trying to get that power in. But, you know, I mean, I get it. Understandably, she's upset that all the girls were laughing about an inside joke that they shouldn't understand. And Demi says that she's pissed off at Whitney because it was childish. But then Whitney says she's mad because she feels ambushed somehow because Whitney is an actual troglodyte monster. Also, I want to say at the bar mitzvah or whatever the fuck they threw for Zach's baby, whatever, all the girls have to like sit down and be quiet and only the guys can go up, and they're like, only the guys can go up because they're a part of the priesthood. So the women have to sit down and not say anything.
The reason why women don't give this blessing is because only men carry the priesthood.
And it's done in it's very quick, but I was like,
it's empowering.
I'd probably want to go to a Galentine's Day party too after that. Are you kidding me? We're only getting to heaven and you guys get to tag along. You're like, Episode 4, The Book of Truth. The girls go on a trip to Park City for Macy's birthday and to spend time together to try and repair any bad relationships within the group, but that doesn't end up happening and things just simply get worse because nothing good ever happens. It's only tragedy in this beautiful twerking TikTok glam group. It's hell. It starts out fine and the girls make some epic dance video content together, but then Demi decides she wants to break out something called the Truth Box, where the girls will anonymously ask a question to someone else in the group. That's a good idea. It starts out okay at first and it's kind of fun as the questions aren't anything too controversial, you know, but quickly devolves into girls asking very targeted and accusatory questions. Like immediately. They're like, do you like Sprite or Pepsi? She's like, Pepsi, and they're like, ah! And she's like, did you suck Derek's dick? Everyone's like, the biggest fight comes when the question is asked to Whitney, why don't you like Taylor? Dooku gets asked why he doesn't like Palpatine, dude. Whitney answers and she doesn't really care about her and that she can't trust her, and then also mentions she feels hurt that people rallied around Taylor after her swinging issue and forgave her, but people still bully Whitney for the video she made about dancing next to her sick baby. It's one of the funniest moments in the entire season. It's so funny.
Connor rushes Liam to the emergency room. The first couple of days were a bit scary. I'm thinking, like, let's, you know, do something fun, and I made a video.
People keep blasting me about dancing next to my dying kid. People forgive Taylor. What the f? The next morning, Taylor decides that she needs to hash things out with Whitney about their relationship, but the Demi comes up to them in the bathroom and keep pressing Whitney about the situation, and it turns into a big yelling match, ruining the night. It's very awkward. It's very cringy. A lot of people crying.
At this point, Mom Talk was already hanging by a thread before this trip, and now we're having this happen.
The amount of times women cry in the show is unbelievable. They do that thing too. Pet peeve of mine, dude, is when women are wearing makeup and they cry and they do like the, they tap their eyes.
Yeah, Whitney did that.
I fucking, I hate that. I can't believe it. It's like, just fucking cry. You're already looking like a goddamn baboon. The girls all leave the trip feeling upset and like their relationships are worse than ever. It's just a bunch of like more catty shit. Nothing is ever said. Like, I just want you to know I'm hitting this. This is the substance. It's this quick. Now imagine sitting through an hour of that. The talk, I think the talk is 30 minutes long. About her just being like, you were never on my side. She's like, why would I be on your side? We don't ever dance and make content. You're like, this is the show. There's so much B-roll of them just like filling up cups with pop, with soda. And them eating like brownies. Like, that's the show. Episode 5, The Book of Broken Vows. God, what the fuck is this? A Harry Potter sequel? What the fuck is this? Probably the most boring episode of the show. The big event that happens is that Layla is throwing a party to celebrate her divorce and leaving a toxic relationship. And people were like weird about that. I was like, that's cool. If I was a girl and I was like, oh, some girl is like throwing this is my dead name, I'm going back and I'm a free woman again. Is that not a fun thing to, why not celebrate? Why make it a sad event, right? If my friend called me, if you were married and you called me like, hey, I'm throwing a party because I just divorced Paula Dean, just sign the papers, let's get fucking wrecked tonight, I'd be like, yes, sir. You know what I mean? Why not? Whitney left the Mom Talk group chat and all girls laugh about it. Whitney claims she isn't leaving for attention. She just needs to not talk to them so she can focus on herself and her relationship and family, but then immediately says she thinks it's weird that she left and nobody is checking up on her to see how she's doing and that she left the group chat.
Macy called me and she was like, we're making things so dramatic again. And I'm like, what? What are we making so dramatic? She's like, you leaving the group chat. Now everyone's calling me, asking me why you left the group chat. I'm like, no one called me.
She's basically like, I just didn't want to hear from them because I need to focus on Connor because he keeps hanging out with this guy, David. And I just think it's weird that no one like remotely tried to like see how I was doing. And it's like, you just said you didn't want to talk to them. Yeah, but I just want them to fawn over me and just like, I just want their attention and time and everything that they have when they're present. I'm evil. Did I tell you I'm evil yet? Macy's having a photo shoot for the upcoming release party for her company and Dakota and Taylor go to support her. But then Dakota barges in and starts to ask if they can do some professional shots of him and Taylor, which makes Macy uncomfortable because she's just kind of like, hey, I hate you, Dakota. Also, your fentanyl's dried out your mouth and your mouth smells like cat shit. Sorry. At Layla's party, Dakota and Taylor get into an argument and Macy has to be the mediator between the two of them. And during the conversation, Taylor expresses how she's afraid to commit to Dakota due to her experience with bad relationships in the past and also because she's heard rumors of Dakota cheating on her.
I feel bad because it's like been a long time and we're having a baby and I can't get over it. I can't get over it.
This episode was really boring. It was bad. Dakota's very uncharismatic. Once again, if he's not doing fentanyl, I don't care. It made me realize I'm like, this is like what Jersey Shore is. If Jersey Shore was this, it would never be that successful. You have to have the drunken fights. You gotta have the sloppy shit, right? Everyone's too fucking put together, eating Tootsie Rolls and just like you're arguing about nothing. Hearing sober people argue about petty shit is so much worse than hearing drunk people argue about the same thing. Because at least the drunk side is much more entertaining and it's like gets crazy. These people are just like, you barely even, you're like disrespectful. And you're like, Wow. I'd hate to be your friend. Whoa. Episode 6, the first book of sin.
This is when they throw a wrench. They said the show is boring.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I thought. The producers were just like, probably had a fucking gun to his temple, and he's like, if you don't do something, I'm going to pull the trigger. He's like, you go to Vegas. And the girl's like, no. He's like, go to Vegas. So the Mormon moms go to Vegas. Some of the husbands are upset that their partners are spending time alone in Vegas without them, so Zach and Dakota decide to go along with them because they're... Whitney has blocked some of the women and even unfollowed everyone from the group, so now everyone's just like, we hate Whitney. Also, Whitney's going to like a homestead thing. She's like, I'm a homestead girl.
What exactly is a homestead?
Self-sustainable living. It's up to the individual or the family to decide like how far they're going to take that. Like,
We want a farm.
Also, I immediately paused the episode when we Googled it, and now she gave up that immediately, and she's trying to be an actress in LA. Good idea, Whitney. Jessie announces she's having a labiaplasty. Remember when I talked about that earlier? And the group of girls paint pictures of their labias together. And after the surgery, Demi brings tulips in honor of her 2 lips that have been cut up and reconstructed. They also all poke and prod at her. She like shows it, and it's... I'm trying to think if I got like my dick extended or something like that. If I was like, dude, look at it now. So that makes sense. I'd probably show it off. Dude, look at it now. Look at this Johnson, dude. So, you know, I'm not going to die. I would do that shit too. The girls trick Dakota by telling him that Taylor is going into labor, which pisses him off because they can't get a hold of him. He won't answer his phone. So they're like, her water broke. And he calls her back. And they're just like, just kidding. Taylor's here. And he's just like, what the fuck is your problem? He's like, we're doing rails of fentanyl. Dakota and Zach talk about how they want to go to Vegas with the girls so they can keep an eye on them. We also learn that Zach has a huge gambling problem. One of the funniest revelations in the entire series, because you find out that his wife, Jen, is paying for everything with her TikTok and that she's supporting him through school and everything. And he's like, well, you said you're going to give me an allowance, right? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to give you $2,500. And I'm like, God damn.
I'm giving you $2,500 and I'm going to be really pissed if you lose it.
$2,500 fucking allowance for a bet. Like, you're just like, yeah, here's your play money. That's crazy. The episode ends with the girls going to Chippendales and they rub on oil on half-naked men. Zach gets pissed off at Jen and threatens to leave, but Jim is upset because she didn't even want to go in the first place. She feels like she's like, you know, I didn't even want to go. She starts yelling at him, and then like at 2 a.m, she leaves randomly, so people don't know where the fuck she's at. The clip of her getting yelled at is pretty funny.
Okay, what's going on? I thought he was cool with you being here.
No, he doesn't want to be married to me if I do stuff like that.
It's tragic out of context, but if you had to build up this entire thing, it's nice to see some other emotion that isn't just fake. They all have like very fake, like happy car salesman, realtor vibes. Oh my God, how are you? Also, everything is always like, yes! Oh my God! And I just picked up sweet potatoes at the store. Oh my God, sweet potato, yes! Okay, I love those. It's that Mormon energy, dude. It's draining. Holy f***, when I lived in Utah, it was all the time. Holy f***. Brutal. Oh yeah, Macy gets an anonymous tip that someone slept with Dakota because she has like an Instagram live or Instagram story thing that's like your confessions, and someone's like, I slept in Dakota for fentanyl. I didn't know. This is before I knew that he was dating Taylor and impregnated her. Sorry. So then Macy's like, oh my God, do I tell Taylor or do I not tell Taylor? Which we go into episode 7, which is the Book of Trust. Michaela and Jen leave the show early so they don't upset their husbands. Leave the show early, they were never there. While this is going, the other women are having a blast watching Chippendale dancers go at it, right? They're having the time of their life, which this is, if I found out my wife went to a Chippendale show, I would not give a shit. Honestly. It's just people doing, oh my God. They're performers. It's a job. My wife went to Chippendales and she had sex with every dancer. Damn. Zach threatens to divorce Jen and then goes to the casino to gamble. It's really funny. It's just like one shot. You can tell he was like, if you come near me, I'll fucking kick your ass. To the camera guy. So the camera guy's kind of far away. We learned that Zach gambled away all of his money his family gave him for medical school, which medical school's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So good job, Zach.
His family gave him a chunk of money to help them through medical school and kind of ease the burden, and he blew right through it.
I didn't hit it big on Baccarat like I thought I would. Dakota finds out that the women went to Chippendale show and gets angry, but once again, as always, our King Dakota, the fentanyl flop himself, he apologizes as usual. I may have overreacted, baby. I'm sorry. Macy tells Taylor about Dakota cheating on her, and Taylor says that if it's true, she'll leave Dakota. Boom, boom, boom. We find out that Jen and Zach talk things out, and that even though he has narcissistic flare-ups every few months, they are just fine. It was the thing I talked about earlier, where she comes in there like, oh my God, well, what happened? And she's just like, yeah, I mean, it's like not even a huge deal. We talked it out, it's fine. When he's yelling at her on the phone, it's fucking gruesome. And she starts like bawling, why are you yelling at me? It's fucking crazy. But lastly, we go into episode 8, the last episode, which is the Book of Rumors. And Taylor confronts Dakota about the allegations, and Dakota responds in anger, saying that he's sick of hearing about Taylor's trust issues. Just trust me already, bitch, damn!
You say this stuff to me 24/7. This is what I'm saying.
So it's clear.
No, not even about this. Like, I'm just hearing this 24/7. Like, I'm sick of hearing it.
Taylor says she's scared of Dakota. I thought that was kind of crazy to hear on the last one. I think she's literally 7 days away from giving birth. She's just like, I'm afraid of him. Meanwhile, we find out Whitney is pregnant. Who cares? She's a dog. She reveals this too by she bakes the pregnancy stick into a cake. They dig through it and they're like, oh, okay, we'll eat the cake. And then someone had the actual smarts to be like, wait, is this the actual piss stick? And she's like, yeah. And they're like, that's disgusting.
Did you actually pee on that, or is it just like a...
I actually peed on that.
Okay, why did you put that in the cake?
There's a lid on it.
So yeah, then she's like, okay, I might have overlooked that one. Good news about Zach, our psychopath. He gets accepted to a medical school in New York, and Jen tells him that she can't move out there because it'll ruin her entire career that she has supported him on. You know, she likes it out here. And Zach's response is, I'm happy with that, but I don't care. You think I'm joking, but that's actually it.
I'm happy with that, but I really don't. I don't really care.
And you're like, this is going to end in some kind of like, he's going to get arrested somehow. Don't know what's going to happen. Zach will be arrested sometime in the future. Would have done great in the 80s. Zach would have had a great 80s run, but 2024. Macy launches her maternity supplement brand, Baby Mama. Whitney's invited, and the other moms make an agreement that if she doesn't show up, that they'll all unfollow her. Newsflash, she doesn't show up, so they all fucking unfollow her. Who cares? But at the same time, to me, it was uplifting to see people just in unison hate Whitney, because she's the biggest dog here. It's unbelievable. Taylor's water breaks, and her and Dakota go to the hospital. There's an insufferable video cam thing of Dakota like being all happy about it, but it's just so fucking, it's like a social media post where he's like, oh my god, I can't believe it. She's like, my water broke, and he's like, yeah, she smelled her panties. It was definitely water. It wasn't piss. And you're like, why would you include, like, just say her water broke, dude? Why are you fucking getting all weird and like specific about it?
Yeah, we both like looked at each other, and Taylor's like, what was that?
I thought I peed myself,
Yeah.
but it's water. I had to smell it just to confirm.
She did smell it, and she confirmed it.
He's like all like coke eyes. He's like, I can't wait to be a dad. While this is going on, Michaela has a roller skating party going on because they're Mormon. Whitney arrives uninvited, and the women are mad at her. Yeah, she shows up when everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing here? You know what I mean? And she's like, this is awkward.
I'm gonna go. I feel so awkward.
This is awkward.
This is so awkward right now.
She gives Macy a gift, but Macy refuses to open it. It's pretty funny. She's like, here you go. She's like, cool. Okay, this is awkward. Whitney doesn't understand why Macy's mad at her. Macy tells her that she always supports Whitney, and the one time she wanted Whitney's support, she wasn't there. Whitney shrugs us off and only thinks about herself. She's like, yeah, well, I'm feeling weird. I had indigestion, a period cramp or something. I'm pregnant. I don't know. Whitney leaves the party and says she needs to step down from mom talk, and everyone applauds. Everyone's happy about it. The universe is healing. She does go and beats a child to death and does a dance in front of it. That's not true, but it could have been. The episode ends with Taylor giving birth, and that for the first time, she feels confident in her future. Jen then declares she's leaving mom talk because of Zach. Pretty funny. I gotta leave because Zach thinks it's a bad influence. You're just like, you're hopeless. You're completely brainwashed, Jen. I feel bad for her. And Macy makes a call to women who slept with Dakota. She calls the girl and she's just like, can you tell me about your relationship with Dakota? And she's like, I'll tell you all about it.
I just have some questions about you and Dakota and your past relationship.
I'll tell you everything.
And the episode ends, you're like, oh my god, did she do it? Who cares, dude? God damn.
I was gonna say, Macy's just poking the bear.
Well, yeah, Macy's just doesn't fucking like the guy. Oh, this is the big thing I took away from it. Demi, best character in the show. She brings the most confrontation. She's the loudest, most obnoxious one. I liked watching her. And apparently her pussy tastes like Fruit Loops or something. Much like Lil Xan said, her pussy tastes like Skittles. Worst character by far is Whitney, and the person who I think will die first is Jen. Okay, those are my predictions. This show was a roller coaster ride. I don't know why I thought this would be a good episode. I don't know if it was. Don't know what I'm supposed to tell you. It was something that I watched, and the entire time I was like, I want to just talk about this. I have no idea who to talk it with. I tried talking to my wife about it. She wouldn't listen. Apparently, there's going to be a second season. I don't fucking know. I had to talk to someone about this besides my friend. I had to put it out there. I have no self-respect for myself or my time, and I hate myself. Goodbye.